Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. My research field mainly focus on the local mechanics and local engineering. And in this presentation, my topic is the identification and lifetime peaking of the microseismic events by deep learning method. There are 5 parts, and the first one is the background of my research. You know, the excavation of the high stable local slope, the construction of hydropower station, the deep buried underground space and tunnel excavation will result in many failures in the surrounding rock. So the causes of these failures may need to hazard in rock engineering, especially in the deep buried surrounding rock with great insular stress. For example, the Sichuan-Tibet railway in China will cross many mountains and valleys, and many tunnels are more than 1,000, even 2,000 meters deep. So it will with great insular stress. So under such condition, the surrounding rock will be seriously damaged due to the excavation, and many failures will occur, and consequently result in many hazards, especially the rock burst, which will not only deny the construction period, but also threaten the personal safety. And you can see this is the rock burst. You can see that the rock burst occurs suddenly, and it is difficult to be detected by the traditional monitoring method. So the difference of hazard evolution between the rock and the soil is that there are large displacement in soil or engineering before the hazard formulation. So we can monitor the evolution of displacement to predict the possibility of the soil hazard. However, for the rock engineering, the displacement, you can see the displacement is very small before the hazard due to much harder of rock than soil. So such small displacement is difficult to be monitored effectively. However, it can be seen from the failure process of the rock that the instability of rock is caused by the initiation, propagation, and causes of these cracks. Therefore, the microfailure detection method can monitor the process of crack propagation in rock in real time and effectively. And it can provide early warning when the hazard is formed. So our method is by monitoring the microfracture process in the disturbed rock, we can preserve the occurrence and development of the geohazard, which is helpful for the early warning of the hazard in rock engineering. So for the failure of the rock, we use several high sensitive sensors to receive the vibration of the rock failures. Such failure are called the microseismic events. And finally, we can get the failure location, and we can get the failure locations and the location with many failures, and maybe the next hazard location. So the date collected by the high sensitive sensors need a serious data process to finally warning of the hazard, including the single identification and the first arrival time peak next the earthquake. and the source location, and the last one is hazard warning. So the first task is single identification. In local engineering, the data collected by the sensors not only include the microseismic data like this one, and the blasting data, but also include many noises, such as the local single and the current single and many unknown noises. So the but so the problem for the single identification is that at first, at present, the single identification seriously depend on the manual process. So to reduce the monitoring date, we generally set a high monitoring threshold to filter some noisy data, but it also filter many microseismic data, and the most important is that many monitoring data cannot be processed manually in time. The second problem is that the identification and classification of molten singles strongly depend on the quality of the engineering, and for the experienced engineering will get effectively and accuracy. But the problem is it is hard for the new hand of the microseismic monitoring. And the third problem is that the efficiency of manual treatment is low, and it is also restricted by the biological factors such as the fatigue, the carelessness of the man, and the man for the man with more responsible can get more quality can get a great quality date. And the last one is and the last one is the quality of the identification and classification seriously affect the spatial and temporal distribution of the microseismic event. The spatial location of the microseismic event seriously will seriously affect the subsequent early warning of the hazard. So to identify the microseismic single data automatically, CNN model model combined with attention was proposed, but different from the other CNN model, we use 1D instead of traditional 2D, according to the feature of the microseismic data. And the benefit of this method is to shorten the training time and save the memories, which is more efficient than other 2D CN method. And in the process of the microseismic method, we need the high process of identification. However, pulling treatment is easy to lose of microseismic data information. However, we use a large step convolution layer to replace the pulling except the last convolution layer. The most important is that the attention mechanism is very useful for our microseismic and identification. For the single with low SNR, SNR means the single to noise ratio. For the single with low SNR or other complex noise, we should focus more attention on this area rather than on other place. So the attention mechanism is very useful in our identification. In the local engineering, it contains many multi channels, not only one channel. So sometimes it is hard to it is hard to identify a single single. But we can recognize that the other uh, other channels. But we can easily identify other channels. So we can more easily deal with complex single identification with multi-channel. So this the special attention is mainly focused on just one single instead of even distribution on the whole single. The uh, the attention mechanism can effectively express the influence of noise, even replace the traditional denoise method to avoid the loss of information caused by the denoise. So spatial attention can not only improve the performance of improve the performance by ignoring the noise, but also reduce the complexity of the task because of more reasonable and reasonable allocation of the computing resources. So for the channel attention, the feature of single with high single to noise ratio are firstly identified. So for example, this one and this one can be easily identified. It belongs to the microseismic singles. However, for this one, it is difficult to be identified. However, with the help of these two singles, we also can define the identify that this one also belongs to the microseismic date. So therefore, such identification is benefit for the low SNR single. Furthermore, with the channel attention mechanism, the model can learn from the training processes, and which can apply the operation weight to the feature vector extracted from the middle layer. And it can selectively highlight the more meaningful feature and suppress the less useful feature. And finally, the model of single identification is obtained by DSCA module, and the single channel and multi-channel models were proposed respectively to show the benefit of the channel and the spatial attentions. And according to our model, the results show that the accuracy of the single channel model can reach to 97, more than 97%. And more importantly, the multi-channel with six channels, it can get more than 99%. Our method can also identify the complex the singles with much complex noises. And the second task is for the microseismic monitoring of the hazard in local engineering we call it is first arrival time picking. And for this task, the difficulty is how to get a high precision of time picking. And the most difficulty is that there is there is only one point. There is only one point for the actual faster arrival time resulting, and there is only one positive date among many thousands of negative date. So the third and the third one is difficult is that the non-sequence of the single, the imbalance of positive and negative single will influence the time peaking. Because of the traditional deep learning method cannot effectively deal with non-sequence. Generally, it will use a downsample method to for the necessary of the arrival time arrival time peaking, which will decrease the accuracy of the time peaking. Therefore, firstly, we use a score map label to deal with the imbalance.
I think there are 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay. Okay, I just finish of the possible and negative samples, and the real time and the real arrival point has the greatest possibility, and the data around this point also has a certain possibility. Such method is more reasonably increase the number of the positive samples. And the second one is the self-attention is benefit for the dealing with of the short sequence, but difficult to deal with non-sequence. So because high dimensional n by n should be maintained in the operating processes. Therefore, we propose multi-head self-attention with segment and integration method to deal with the non-sequence of the microseismic singles. In this method, the multi-head and multi-scale was used use of self-attention, and finally we can extract the feature of each segment and aggregate together with an adaptive manner to obtain the final coding vectors. And finally, we propose our extractor and generating architecture for the end-to-end arrival time peaking. You can see that our method performs well in the in time peaking accuracy, and which is very close to the manually peaking accuracy got by very experienced engineering. Such accurate arrival time peaking is benefit for the source location. For example, for example. The source location got by the monitoring system is far away from the tunnel. However, for our method, the failure is in the right at the right location of the failure. The data process method was used in the practical tunnel engineering, and the accumulation of failure location is the location of the Rockburst. And okay, just I tell the slides. So you can see the accumulation of the failures, just the Rockburst locations, and we also can capture the evolution process of Rockburst early, so which is benefit for the treatment of the Rockburst. You can say that here is just the location of the Rockburst. Okay, thank you. And that's all. Thank you.